Hi, I'm Erin with Homeschool Connections, and we're here today with Kathy Dutton. Kathy, great to have you here.
Good to be here, Erin.
And today we're going to talk about your courses and a little bit about you. First, let's start with those courses. What do you teach here at Homeschool Connections?
I am a science teacher and I teach a physical science class that is for upper middle school to lower high school. I suggest 7th to ninth grade. And then I teach a high school chemistry course that has an optional lab. And I suggest 11th or 12th graders, though if you've got a motivated 10th grader with good math skills, they're absolutely welcome to join us.
Very cool. So these must-have courses, right? These are the courses that
Yes.
people really, it helps you not, if you're going to college, it's a must-have on your transcript. If you are going on in life and you just need to know these basics, these are foundations, which
Yes, they are. One thing, I know I'm teaching science, but sometimes I feel like I'm teaching religion
mm,
because what we're looking at is, I don't know if you want to look at it as Genesis chapter 1 or the Big Bang Theory. I believe they're talking about the same thing. We are talking about all the elements and energy that God created the earth with. What he
mm,
created then is all we have to work with. We cannot create, we cannot destroy.
mm.
All we can do is kind of manipulate it a little bit. And it's absolutely amazing to look at in depth at that type of a level, molecular level, energy level, at how God made everything to work so perfectly. So I'm always in absolute awe and wonder at science and God's creation. I feel like I learn more
Mm.
about God by looking at his artwork, his creation. And so I teach from that perspective.
You bring that passion, you bring that love of the subject. It just oozes from you in a really good way. I love it. I
Well,
love
I
it.
love science.
I can tell. I can tell. We and the students can tell as well. So tell us a little bit about what would be covered in the classes. Well, what's the class like, and what do you cover in those courses?
Well, first, let me talk about both of them. In some respects, they're very, very similar. The
Mm.
foundation of all science is math. I don't teach math. I can do it, won't teach it. Um, and all of physics is based on math. I've had a chemistry. I've had a physics professor tell me more than once that really chemistry is just applied physics. And
Mm.
as much as I hate to admit it, he's right. Um, what do I say?
Oh.
So, physical science is really a combination of physics and chemistry. Um, and then, of course, we have the chemistry. From chemistry, all the other sciences branch.
Mm.
Okay, so math, physics, chemistry is the base of all science, whether it is a physical science or a life science. So when I'm teaching those classes, my examples come from all over. We might talk about
Mm.
archaeology. We might talk about how that we're detecting fraud in paintings. We might
Mm.
talk about the sense of smell. So there's lots and lots of real life examples.
Mm. That's
The
great.
other the other important thing is I feel like I'm there to help the kids succeed. And so I give them, within the way I have my courses set up, they always have multiple attempts on homeworks. They even have multiple attempts on quizzes because I want
Mm.
them to go back and learn the material.
Mm.
I want them to understand it. And the feedback I get is most students will end my courses enjoying science more. They're seeing the connection. And even those that end saying, I really like English a whole lot better than science. you to everybody their own. We
That's
need those
right.
people.
That's right.
They at least have a good appreciation for science. They know how it's important in their everyday life, so they can use the information that they have.
Mm. Perfect. I love it. Tell me about you and your background, what you bring to teaching science.
Well, I never thought I was going to be a teacher. A matter of fact, if you went back to my high school and asked anybody what I was going to be, it was a given. I was going to be a professional musician. I would either be
Mm.
playing trumpet in some orchestra or teaching at a college or writing music or doing something like that. That's what I was doing. Well, I got in in high school, in my senior year, I took a physics class, and
Mhm.
that teacher, I will never forget him and his handy dandy toys. Now, I don't have as many handy dandy toys, but as you can see behind me, I have my
Right,
fair share of toys
that's
that
right.
we look at. And then I went to college, and you have to take science as part of your
Mhm.
major. And my first major was actually in accounting.
Mm.
And I found out a little late in the game that accounting meant I was sitting on my hind end all day.
Oh.
Not me. Okay, you can even see
Right,
this here. I have a lot of energy.
right, right.
Well, I always liked my science classes. I got to know somebody who was in the science field. And so I went back and I got another degree in
Mm,
chemistry,
mm.
actually biochemistry, which means if you get a chemistry degree, you have to have a lot of physics, you have to have a lot of math. We've already talked about that. But
Right, right.
bio meant I also had a lot of biology. So it makes me a very well rounded teacher. I
Mm,
have a lot of different areas that I can pull in. And then
mm.
after school, I went to be a working scientist. And I always found, even starting in school, I was always the one they tapped on the shoulder. Could you train her? Could you explain this? Would you mind TAing this class? It's
Right.
like it just happened. And um,
You couldn't
I
get
was,
away from that teaching.
I could, but I didn't realize it yet.
Mm,
I had left the workforce because I was working with radioactive material,
mm,
carcinogens causing cancers, and worst of all, teratogens. Those are things that cause
mm,
birth defects. And my
mm.
husband and I wanted children. So I left the workforce, and one of my dear friends happened to be a principal at one of the local Catholic schools. And one morning, way, way too early, like 5:30, she gives me a call. Kathy, can you sub today?
Oh,
Melinda, I have never subbed in my life.
right.
I've seen you with kids. You can do it. No, I can't. And it's middle school on
Mm.
top of that. You got to be out of your gourd.
Uh,
Well, she wouldn't let me off the phone until I did it
oh,
because she was really stuck and she knew I wasn't good with the word no.
mm.
And so I subbed that day and she said, "Well, how was it?" And I said, "It was wonderful. It was great. I
You
loved
were
it."
hooked. You
And
were hooked.
I've been teaching ever since, one way or
Mm,
another, whether for a while when my children were really, really small, I didn't want to leave them at childcare, but at the other thing, I didn't want to go to the workforce. So I ran a preschool, teaching the
mm.
kids, developing curriculum, subbing, teaching at homeschools because I was homeschooling. Um, it's one of those things that just came naturally. It was nothing I ever intended.
What a great
So
story. This just the way that you have flowed through your education to your professional work as a scientist to teaching and working and homeschooling your own children. You bring so much to the table here, which is why you are one of the sought after instructors. Your courses in
yeah,
especially in the subjects you've mentioned. That's fabulous. I know people here want to hear a little bit too about you and what you love and like and what you do outside of teaching. Give us a little window into that.
well, a little window. I always say if you're a chemist, you can be a good cook. And if you're not, you
Mm.
don't want to be. And vice versa. If you cook well, you can be a chemist. I am quite the cook. I love
Mm.
cooking, baking. Have contemplated, and maybe I shouldn't say it here, a course, either the art and science of cooking or cooking with Kathy.
Mm.
I gotta talk a little bit about that.
There you
That's no
go.
guarantees to anybody.
There you
Um,
go. That's fun.
Other than that, am a board member for our regional association for the International Science and Engineering Fair. And my
Mm.
passion in working with that is I come from the Flint Saginaw vicinity in Michigan. A lot of you guys have heard a lot of bad things
Mm.
about Flint, and
Mm.
there's a lot of good things too, but the bad is true. You just never hear the other side.
Mm.
But I like working with those children who don't have those opportunities,
Mm.
really working with the underprivileged and giving them a knowledge of science and the scientific process. So that's where I spend a lot of my free time. And if I'm not there,
Mm.
I'm with my husband or I'm volunteering at church for whatever they happen to need at the moment.
You are busy and in a great way. I love it. I love it. Well, if someone's watching and they think, you know what, this is a really perfect fit for my student, I'd love to get in to one of Kathy's classes. What's a great way? Well, first of all, they can go to the website and find your classes in the catalogs, right? Recorded and live.
Yes.
But what's a great way if they have specific questions to you about a course? Is there would you like them to go to homeschoolconnections@gmail.com, or is there a personal email that you'd like to direct them to?
They are absolutely welcome to use that Homeschool Connections one, or they can email me privately at Kathy, Kathys, Kathy's Chemistry, CHEMISTRY @gmail.com. So either
Great.
one works just fine with me. And I try to get all emails answered, within 24 hours
Mhm.
during normal work days.
Right, right. That's fabulous that you have shared, you continue to share who you are, and we can see the bubbly, passionate teacher that you are. And I want to thank you personally for taking time today and for taking time teaching here and
Oh,
sharing your gifts with
I
the students.
absolutely love it. I really feel like the principal that called me, it was at a Catholic school, and I
Mm,
really feel like God was working right through her
mm.
and not giving up and saying, "Hey, you've got to come sub for me this one day." It's amazing how little things can be
Those
so
little things.
transforming in life.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely perfect to end with that. And thank you for watching. If you are interested in Kathy's courses, please go to the catalog and feel free to reach out. Thank you again, Kathy, for
Oh,
spending
thank
time
you
here.
very much, Erin. Have a blessed day.